The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation reports the annual pace of housing starts fell 10% between December and January. The annual pace of urban housing starts fell 11%, and multi-unit urban starts fell 14%. An increase in multi-unit construction pushed the annual rate of housing starts up 179% in Toronto, while housing starts fell in Montreal and Vancouver due to drops in multi-unit construction. Joining us now to discuss the latest report is Clay Travis, real estate financial expert and spokesperson for NerdWallet Canada. Clay, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What are some of the main factors that have caused the dip in housing starts?
Well, it's hard to extrapolate too much from 1 month of data, but the struggles that a lot of developers are facing, high mortgage costs, high labor costs, and a shortage of people to help break ground.
And it's been widely discussed. I mean, it's a national headline that Canada doesn't have enough supply. We don't have enough homes. Are we doing enough to build enough homes to keep up with demand, or is this report just further evidence that we are not meeting our goals here?
Oh, absolutely not. Canada is so far behind on the amount of housing we need. I think it's fair to question whether we'll ever catch up. I was looking at some starts data from 2019. So assuming that all of those 209,000 homes hit the market this year, which is impossible because a lot of those homes will be pre-sold.
Mhm.
But if we had 209,000 homes hit the market this year, that's still less than half the number of new permanent residents that we're expecting this year. So trying to keep up with our population growth and then just the national or natural growth of families in this country, it's looking like an impossibility.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been some discrepancy here between major cities. We noted that Toronto, we saw starts go up, but we're seeing declines in other major cities like Montreal and Vancouver. Do we have any understanding on why there's a discrepancy between the major cities, or are they facing different pressures?
Well, I think builders are going to be facing the same pressure city to city. With a monthly total like
Hmm.
this, there's a lot of factors that can come into play. It could be timing, just the number of buildings that were ready to go. It could be extreme weather. I know we had some pretty harsh weather in Vancouver that could delay things. So there's a number of things getting in the way. Long term, though, costs and labor costs. It's just it's a real uphill battle to get shovels in the ground these days.
And I mean, on the cost front, what can be done? What are the policy changes that need to be enacted to boost housing supply and maybe bring down some of those costs?
Well, policy is tough. At a local level, you can change zoning laws to increase density, but at a federal level, there's really not much a federal government can do. It cannot control the amount of available land. It can't control interest rates. So all of these factors
Hmm.
that make building so risky in the current economic climate, the government really has no sway over.
Yeah, you have a good point on the role of the federal government. One of the policies that have been put forward, at least several times over the past few years, is selling off surplus land that the federal government owns. Is that a realistic option for us in terms of building more homes, or will that not make a dent in the issue here?
I think at this point, any little bit will help. It's not going to solve the problem, but if it's unused land and it's not, say, reserved green space that's protected, it's in a place where people actually want to live, and it's land that developers can service, that we can get economic things like
Hmm.
shopping, things like schools there. I'd say we should look at every possible solution because it's a major problem.
Yeah, you mentioned where people want to live. That's obviously a huge crux of the debate. We have major cities which attract Canadians. They attract new Canadians. That's predominantly where the jobs are. Are we seeing a strong enough effort from our major cities to do things like enact zoning changes, which are in their control? Or are we seeing a lag there as well in terms of their willingness to do what's necessary?
Well, I can't speak to every community. I know here in Toronto, we're trying to push higher density closer to transit systems. I know in Calgary, there's a real push to convert unused commercial real estate and turn that into apartments. So people are trying, but there's only so much you can do. And it takes so long to get a building permitted and built that, putting up 1,000 units 10 years from now, it really doesn't do anything to alleviate the pressures that are on our markets now.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks.